G'day YouTube, Warbles on a lot here. Around about right now, if everything is happening to schedule, my daughter should be about 1,000 feet off the ground, climbing out of Kingsford Smith Airport at Mascot in Sydney, headed to the east. After she climbs, air traffic control is going to let them go to the left or to the right, and then if I look at the atlas, and I have a bit of a look at the map of the world, and if I think about malt liquor video, what they call a great circle course. And the idea of a great circle course is that if you're going to travel on an oblate spheroid, then when you're going to go west or east, it's a really clever idea if you can do that really close to the pole, right? We're traveling a short distance in miles to the east or the west means that you can save yourself a vast distance of traveling if you were to go around the fat part of the planet, so to speak. So if, for example, somebody wanted to go to the United Arab Emirates, which is 25 degrees north of the equator, from Sydney, which is 35 degrees south of the equator, then rather than going on a direct course, it would be fairly smart to go as far to the west as you can before then curving to the north. So therefore, thus and because, if we apply the set of French curves which I purchased at the local newsagent 1971, 72-ish, so that I could better design aerofoils, because even as a teenager I was a significant aeroplane head, then we can see that the most fuel efficient course from Sydney to Abu Dhabi runs pretty much somewhere between there and there. And either which way, what that means is that my dear darling Dottar child, whose flight was scheduled to take off from Kingsford Smith Airport at Mascot in Sydney at 4:20 local time, is going to be on a cruise climb at probably 300 to 350 nautical miles per hour. And as I'm currently standing approximately here-ish, then her closest approach to me is going to be around about 5 p.m, perhaps 10 to 5, maybe, sort of, kind of, perhaps, at about 30,000 feet, 300 to 400 miles per hour, just about as she crosses the New South Wales South Australian border. And as I'm a slightly inebriated aeroplanologist, sitting 1,111 metres above sea level, a kilometre to the west of the watershed, atop the Great Dividing Range, 30 degrees south of the equator, 151 degrees east of the Greenwich Meridian, I reckon that there's just a faint, slight, tiny chance that the blue hole that I have requested will appear on my horizon more or less at the specific time, so that I hope to use my binoculars to see the contrails emerging from Etihad Airways flight EY451 departing Sydney 12 minutes ago. At least That's the plan. Because what I got told at 4:32, am on plane now, will probably not be able to text again, but love you. No, not at 4:32, because that's the time now. That was received at 03:41, so everybody boarded the plane more or less on time. We can forget the local time showing at the top right corner of the screen. So yeah, drunk as I may be, I reckon my daughter is now probably climbing through 15 to 20,000 feet. That's the theory. Okay, maybe 10,000 feet. I mean, how fast can a fully loaded Boeing 777 climb when it's headed from Sydney to Abu Dhabi with 14 hours of fuel on board? We shall see. Up there, at the moment, I can faintly see a contrail and I can hear a jet, but that's looking to the east, so that thing is actually going from Sydney to Brisbane. It'll be at least another 10 or 15 minutes before I expect to see my daughter's contrails out there to the west. So, hi-ho, hi-ho, it's off to observe we go. And I don't know whether there's any actual chance of seeing anything, but hopefully I've put in a request. I have asked the weather gods or the creator of the universe to give me a bit of a blue hole to the west of me so that I can have a bit of a chance of watching the contrails of the aeroplane that my daughter is currently sitting on flying off to the other side of the world. I mean, like, what's the point of being an aeroplanologist if you can't sit there and calculate flight paths and figure out where any particular aeroplane is going to be at any particular time, assuming that it takes off on time? Yeah? Anyway, let's get over the fence. We got that there done and negotiated. And you wouldn't believe this, but like, the ants are thinking about having a secondary queening. Yesterday we had 100 millimeters of rain here, so yesterday morning just about all the potential queen ants, they grew wings and they flew. Yesterday it was a day with absolute swarms of ants all over the place. I don't know whether we're going to get any more rain, particularly as, as I said, I have put in a bit of a request. And here we stand, and we are looking at my gatepost. Now, the fence runs north-south and east-west, all right? We are now looking exactly east-west as it was surveyed about 140 years ago, right? So therefore, thus and because, that's actually the view due magnetic west. There's the sun up there. And if I want a view of the horizon, I'm going to have to walk a little bit north, right? To open myself up a view to the west. Now, normally, I can see, perhaps not in this direction because I've got a ridge between me and the horizon, right? But I can see about 130 miles straight line distance if I was, looking towards Moree. So I figure that if my daughter's aircraft travels out over there sometime within the next 10 minutes, then I can actually be looking in that direction. So if God's willing and the Pope's agreeable, as the saying used to go, then somewhere out there, in about 3 to 10 minutes, I hope to see a glimpse of my daughter's Herigo plane through the binoculars at full power, which it's kind of difficult to see on the phone screen, but yeah, it's a happening thing. He says, as he finally gets the bloody thing to show on the camera, yahoo, yippee, we've got the window. Let's see if the Etihad Airways EY451 happens to show. Consider this to be an extreme long shot. Yesterday morning, as the bus drove down the highway, my mother stood outside her house and waved at the bus with a white tea towel. Yeah, it was only about 400 or 500 metres away from the highway. Today, I'm like 300 miles away from the flight path. I'm kind of hoping that I can watch my daughter fly past, but like I said, it's a bloody long shot, and I'm not seeing any contrails out there to the west, and they're so far to the west that, yeah, curvature of the earth is a factor. All you flat earthers out there, suck it up, cupcake. Because this little hillbilly's daughter child is going to go halfway around the world, and she's going to visit her grandmother, and then she's going to take time out to go and visit the Anne Frank Museum, and then she's going to come back and spend some more time with the grandmother, and then she's going to come back home, safe and sound, to Oz. At least that is the plan. And right now is when Etihad Airways Flight 451 is making its closest approach to South Dundee Heights. Life is like that. You can't say I haven't tried to keep an eye on the darling daughter child. She's out there. She's in the field of view. Maybe she's below the clouds, but I've got a 5-power zoom on the mobile phone, and I'm up against an 8x40 power set of binoculars. So if it's possible, damn, come back there. If it's possible to watch the daughter child's departure from Eastern Australia, then I've given it my best go. Warbles on a lot to YouTube. Ciao. She's going to text me from Abu Dhabi in 14 hours' time.